Alessandro is going to present a joint paper with Manuela Pulina and Anna Bussu. This is a team of the Faculty of Economics of the University of Sassari, and the topic is, or the title is, Domains and Indicators of Trust, an Empirical Analysis of Airbnb. And so let's start with this, and thank you very much for being here. You have 40 minutes, let's say, Alessandro, okay? You want the people to interrupt you during the seminar, or you prefer the questions and comments at the end?
I've got, probably it's better than after the presentation, because I've got 20 minutes of presentation.
Ah, only 20 minutes. Okay, yeah. Okay. Let's go. Thank you. Let's go.
Or more or less. So. Okay. First of all, I want to share my gratitude to my supervisor Manuela Pulina for this great occasion to share with you all the results of our work, and I want to say thank you to Anna Bussu for a precious collaboration. I also want to say thank you for of the people that organized this event. And so the subject of this paper, this work, is Airbnb, and more specifically, the cognitive question relates to what are the domains and indicators of trust and untrust in this type of platform. So, sorry. Okay. In this study, we have used principally a qualitative method with a program that is called Atlas TI, but also we can find a quantitative analysis done with data. So in this presentation, we find the steps of our research, the results, so what indicators and domains we have found, an important network which allow us to better understand some relationships already present in the literature. For instance, the relation between the stated loyalty and the electronic word of mouth, a theoretical model, and also we have analyzed from a quantitative view another database related to the Sardinian cities of Alghero and Sassari to capture what are the factors that influence the odds that a host become a superhost. So, as I said, the aim of this research is to identify a set of domains and indicators relating to the trust and untrust constructs that allow us to set the factors that influence the creation or destruction of social capital in a classical definition that we can find in Putnam. To this end, we focused our attention on two case concepts extensively analyzed in the literature: the stated loyalty and the electronic word of mouth. So the stated loyalty represents the explicit intention by a guest to return in a destination. As we know, the recommendation through the electronic word of mouth represents an important aspect for hosts in terms of relevant and strategic marketing channel. But what is Airbnb? To the few that doesn't know what Airbnb is, it's a leader firm in the sharing economy sector that grew up rapidly since 2008. As we find in the literature, trust is a crucial aspect. Because of this, in this type of platform, there are reputational systems that allow the guests to share their experience to reduce the risk of relying on a host that they don't know, indicating the reasons why they would or would not repeat this experience or recommend it to others. By studying the reviews, it's possible to identify more precisely what are the trust and untrust factors. So, regarding the methodology of this study, and specifically the qualitative data analysis, we use a thematic analysis and choose an interpretative approach to reconstruct the customer's opinions. Thematic analysis is the process of identifying partners or themes within qualitative data. The use of the software Atlas TI assisted us with data analysis by allowing us to check codes, then a further cross-checking to find any other different codes. Atlas TI, the Atlas TI networks also assist us with the triangulation of data that emerge from qualitative context observed. To ensure a robust methodology, we also respected the saturation point following sales research on quality criteria. So now let's have a look at data. In our empirical analysis, we examined the accommodations in Alghero, and we analyzed one by one 38 accommodations in the historical center. And based on the ratings, we selected only those that had more than 4.5 stars on a maximum of 5. So once the codings were carried out using a free coding mode, we have found 1,242 codes. Then we aggregated these microcodes with the same semantic meaning into further 74 macro codes. So on the basis of that, 5 classes of families were defined: the accommodation, the host, the seasonality, and the destination. So in creating macro codes and hence the families, we worked by separating those codes that had a positive trust value from those with a negative untrust value. And so they ultimately represent our domains. Now let's see our result. So as you can see in this diagram, the trust domain can be split in 4 types of family. Yes, we don't consider the seasonality factor, since it doesn't have any positive or negative meaning in the trusting process. So the accommodations family refers to the objective characteristics of the house, for instance, the size of the rooms. In the destinations family, we have all the codes that are related to surroundings around the accommodation. For instance, distance from the center or the beach, the amusement, the amenities. So the guest family refers to some subjective characteristics of the house, like the cleaning, the quality-price ratio, the electronic word of mouth, and the state loyalty. In the hostess family, we have all of the opinions that the guest had provided on the host. For instance, the human aspects, the kindness in the sense, the availability, the efficiency. So, for instance, being on time, providing quick responses. So that are resulted to be more valuable than others. So now we analyze the untrust domain diagram. The types of family are the same as before, but in contrast, those families of data are less populated than the other one. You will ask why? That's because, I said before, we only selected rating up from 4.5, and if on one end this process excluded most of the negative factors, on the other end, it's easy to understand that it may show up only the most crucial negative factors, such as the air conditioning or Wi-Fi, that result to be more relevant in a negative way when missing them. So now let's take a look at this network. A network is another way to see the same data. Its use is really indicated in this type of qualitative qualitative works. As you can see, we have connections between boxes that refers to different codes. The connections are captured, exploring each code, observing what are the neighbors' code. So each box includes 2 numbers, as we can see. The former represents the frequency of a given code within primary documents. The latter refers to the number of direct association with other codes. For instance, we can see in guest loyalty, we have 55, that is the former, and 2, that is the number of direct association. Okay, so the quotations are selected during the codification. So they are simply an explanation of the codes in general, and it helps us to clarify the meaning of some codes. The hermeneutic unit provides the data structure for each project in Atlas DI and includes all data collected that are the consumer opinions. So, but what this network indicates to us? First of all, according to the literature, a positive word of mouth is cause of stated loyalty. It means that if a guest recommends to others a specific destination, he probably would want to repeat in future this experience 1 or 3 times, we know, based on our descriptive analysis. So the second interesting point is that a positive electronic word of mouth is associated with a good relationship with the host, related to a positive human aspect and efficiency. So what it means that there are intrinsic elements like kindness, friendliness. So needless to say that at the end of the day, we are human. So, and the last thing I would like to point out is that these codes are associated with a good price quality perception, in particular with human aspects. So in the end, it's crucial to underline that the social interactions are beyond every single action. In opposite, what conflicts with a positive electronic word of mouth? We can mention location issues, area issues, equipment issues, and infrastructure issues. So now we see a theoretical model. So this theoretical model is the result of our qualitative analysis. So the major concepts are behind this model have already been explained above. What's the path behind this model? First of all, the guests decide the destination. After they search on Airbnb and they choose the right accommodation based on their budget and their reviews. So generally, they know few information about the host, if or she is a super host, for instance, before meeting him or her. Then, among competing homes of equivalent quality, they choose the host either super or normal. In the last step, the guests have to decide to give or not their trust to the host, and that's where the electronic word of mouth that we examined before plays a key role. As we studied, a positive electronic word of mouth is a cause of loyalty and increase the social capital since it's correlated to human aspects that may be intangible in a short period of time, but results to be fundamental in a long period, especially with respect to economic impacts. What we found as innovative perspective is that the quality price is associated with the human aspect of hosts. Hence, the probability is important that the hospitality has a good rather than a commodity. So it drives the electronic word of mouth that in time will bring more business and will translate in more profits, jobs, and trust, social capital, of course. In the end, let's give a site to another database where we try to capture the factors that makes a host become a superhost. The superhost is a status given by Airbnb based on some characteristics, for instance, an high average rating value or a high level of availability. As before, we analyzed the trust constructs, but this time in a quantitative way. So, as it shows on the logistic regression table, the parameters statistical significant that have a p-value greater than 0.05 are the cleaning, precision, English speaker, air conditioning, and Wi-Fi. For the specific gender variable, we have to consider a higher p-value of 0.10. So the odds ratio on the first column can give us a measure of how much these parameters are influent on becoming a superhost. And I want to underline the importance of the cleaning and precision availability. So the first one increased the odds by 14.7 times, while the second one by 6.5 times. So in the last diagram that I want to show, give us a quick result about which factors have a major importance of becoming a superhost. So to conclude, the first analysis on qualitative data reveals what are the types of families in trust and untrust constructs: accommodation, destination, seasonality, host, and guests. To do that, we focused our attention to the electronic word of mouth and trust areas, human aspects, and efficiency. So the second analysis on quantitative data shows that the key factors for becoming a superhost are cleaning of the accommodation, precision, ancillary services, for instance, air conditioning and internet, knowledge of English language. So lastly, we can conclude that saying that there are homogeneous and complementary results between these two different approaches. So I want to conclude. Thank you to everyone for the attention, and if anyone has any question, feel free to ask me or Manuela or Anna. Thanks.
Thank you very much, Alessandro, for the very nice and very quick presentation. We open now the room for comments, questions. So if somebody wants to let me see the people. Martin Matias, please.
Thank you, Gabriel. Hi, Alessandro. Very interesting presentation and a very interesting research topic also. I want to clarify first that I was given the slides of the presentation to comment. Well, also Algero looks like a very tourism-oriented destination and a nice place to visit. And first, I'm not familiar with the qualitative techniques, but regarding the quantitative side of your study, you're analyzing the determinants of like becoming a superhost. I think that one problem that you could address is, given that you are a superhost, how does the revenue of the superhost, is it higher than the revenue of those that are not superhosts? Because as you well know, being a superhost has a very strict criteria. So also I think maybe someone else can also elaborate on this, but for doing this, you could use the non-superhosts as a control group and compare the revenues of the superhost and the non-superhost and see if there is a difference in revenue between the two. Okay, so I hope my comments are useful. I will also put in the chat a work about superhost on Airbnb.
Thank you.
May I answer this question? Okay, so thank you very much, Martin, for this kind remark. And unfortunately, we don't have data on revenues because we didn't, we collected this data from scratch from the site itself. So we didn't buy the data because I'm aware that they are available also, that you can purchase the whole frame, the whole matrix of data that provides you many more information from a monetary point of view, a profit and so on. So in this case, we just consider the ranking with respect to each service provided by the host, and we knew just that the host was either superhost or not. But in a future research, I'm sure this question will be very valuable to explore further for sure. So thank you very much for this.
Alessandro, you want to say something more, or?
I think it's an important point, but we only want to
have the data.
underline what factors we increase, for instance, the social capital. This is the point. But in general, for me, the point is that these factors will increase in the future, not only today, the profits. Okay, because we say human aspect, hospitality could be, maybe not today, but in the future will increase the profits. So it has economic valuable.
Good. No, if you need to purchase the data, you can have an associate with Miriam. You know, it's our woman of the money.
Great.
Don't present me like this, because I could have problem with my
the finding.
No. We have some data about Switzerland, but of course we don't have data about Italy.
Yeah, they're quite costly actually. We asked, and you know, for a very also for a kind narrow destination, they asked at least, if I don't remember, if I remember correctly, it was about 2,000 and maybe more. You know, so we didn't have any funding at the moment, and we just.
These are coins for me.
Yes, no. For
Next project.
May I ask which the provider have you asked?
I do remember because it is almost before COVID, let's say. So meanwhile, life is, you know, is another film. But if you are interested in that, I can cross-check with and send it to you the information. So please send me an email.
Yes, no, but we buy systematically the data of DNA. Every month we have how you say, an abonnement
yes,
fee per year, and because we have Observatoire de Tourisme, and in the end of the month we receive all the information of Airbnb for all Switzerland.
Okay.
That's the point. But
so for all the country.
For all the country, yes. And then we put that
great.
in our yes, and then we have a lot of data to play with.
Right.
Well, I would like to ask some questions. May I, given that I have the floor?
Yes.
Yeah. You have the priority.
No, mon Dieu. No. Well, I really like your presentation. If I understood well, you have this data. You had make a very outstanding analysis of qualitative data, and then with the qualitative data, you use to make explanatory variables, and you make a logistic model in order to see which are the conditions to be considered that characterize superhost or not. Isn't it? I understood well. Perfect.
No, sorry. We have Miriam. We have two frameworks here. One is qualitative, based on the reviews that guests made and released on the website. The other instead is a quantitative analysis based on data that we collected, quantitative data from the site itself, but based upon the ranking and evaluation that the guest made upon each of the services provided. And we know, you know, if they are super host or not, if, you know, gender, whatever, location, and so on and so forth. So there are two different perspectives, two different frameworks, two different databases in a way. One from the text, the content, text, and the other from quantitative ranking.
But the one that you make for the test, you don't use the synthetic result on the quantitative one?
Exactly, no. But no,
why?
we don't. This is the interesting piece, I think, because they can be regarded as a two complementary approach, mixed methods, and they provide, you know, kind of the same answer, even though we, you know, come from different database altogether, let's say.
Yes, now I understand, because you talk about triangulation, and in the beginning, and then I forget, but now I see this is a very sound methodology. I like it very well. Thank you. I have nevertheless some question. When you make the evaluation, I have seen the quantitative data. Do you have any, how important are humans characteristics of the host for being super host? It means the kindness, the fact that they give information about the local, the thing that they, you see, where are their importance or not? Or the most important thing to be a super host, where the condition of the apartment, the objective condition of the apartment.
Well, we didn't transfer, that is your very good point of yours. What you need to do then to answer to that specific question is potentially to transfer those data, those qualitative information, okay, to, let's say, a software, a quantitative software, because at the end of the day, you can transfer them in a quantitative manner to find out what you're just asking. But it will be, you know, future results.
Okay. Yes, but now even if the qualitative work is outstanding, for the purpose of my question, I suggest you to forget about that. I am talking about your logistic regression. In your logistic regression, how important were the variables talking about the, that seems to give some clue about the human characteristics of the host? If you have to, no, you don't have.
We didn't include those. We just include the gender as you know, kind of you know, characteristics of the host, and that's it. But you know, as you're saying, because probably you need to find out, I think, a common indicator. Let's think that for just one host, we have so many information, because on average, we have at least 10 reviews on average for each host. So you need to kind of summarize, no? And construct a unique indicator that allows you then to plug into the quantity matrix as
okay.
You know. So okay, all those elements that you know, take into account the human aspect, then they need to recalibrate, I think, you know, to find some kind of weights as well, probably, you know, but you need to restructure all the framework from a quantitative perspective. This is what I think.
And I have two questions more. Do you take care about the prices? No, but it's very short, Gabriel. And second, do you know if the superhost was professional or not? You know, there is a,
yes, we have a prices as well. But it wasn't discussed in this occasion. But yes, we had another work done on prices as well as a dependent variable. So that was another kind of framework that also but we didn't present it in this occasion. So yes.
Okay. Thank you very much. I will not use more time. Excuse me.
Oh, no, you know, later you can ask other questions, Miriam.
Yes. Thank you very much. It was very interesting. Thank
you. Somebody more? I have a short question. You know, the factors that you obtained for being a superhost, do you think these factors depend on the destination, or in alternative, do you have similar studies to compare your results?
Alessandro, would you like to say something at this on this?
Looking at our what we found, I think that for instance the cleaning is a common factor. The cleaning, maybe the air conditioning, but for the English language, maybe the air conditioning in Alghero, because it's you know, there is hot, so important in this type of cities. But in general, I think that some factors could be considered as general factors. But I don't know if there are there are a lot of studies in this sense, but I don't know if we can compare. Probably the most important point is the qualitative analysis that the network theoretically is very important, because says that the relationship with the host could explain why people want to suggest a destination, for instance, or an accommodation. And for me, it's a big point. And also, these two aspects are associated with the price quality ratio perception. Okay, so for me, it's the major point. But in general, we want to check if in a minor labor, in a minor work, we want to check if there are some factors that are in common. So I don't know if.
Thank you, Alessandro.
But you don't have other papers doing similar studies.
Yes, we have actually one that is pointed out just right now by Martin.
Martin.
Martin Gunter 2018, tourist management. And then also we find another study that compare actually Sicily and Sardinia by Conto Conversano, Frigao and Mola 2019 in quantitative equality journal. And yes, but what I remember is that they use let's say compressed, okay, determinants. So whereas we just took into consideration each item that was available on the website, they just try to kind of compress those. I'm not aware about this study that Martin pointed out, but for sure we will check that, and we made a comparison. This is kind of early start. Our main analysis here, our main point was, as Alessandro highlighted, from a qualitative perspective, because this is for us, I mean, Alessandro was a totally, innovative methodology that we are applying in economics. And so we are trying to find out, thanks to our colleague Anna, that actually instructed us and taught us how to deal with these methods. So, thanks to her, we are just ended in this kind of analysis.
Exactly. Could I say just something?
Yes,
because
please.
I think I am the only one that is not an economist today.
Oh, we have a lot of people here that are not economists.
Yeah, there are some social psychologists, forensic psychologists, maybe.
No, but we have people from the tourist area in general. So they are from sociology and so on.
Great. I think it was something innovative for us, because there is a literature in this topic, and maybe mixed method too, but I don't think computer assisted, because I think it's innovative too in a methodological way, analyze the data, thematic analysis approach by qualitative analysis software. Because I explained before, Manuela, this software Atlas TI, but at the same time in Vivo, that maybe is more notorious, more famous, but I prefer Atlas TI for many reasons. I think is useful because it can make a dialogue with the quantitative qualitative data too, because you can transform the qualitative data to quantitative data, because you have the option to analyze the code in a quantitative way too, adopting Stata, SPSS. For this reason, I think something, in my opinion, that can be very useful to explore more for economists, because I think it's very important when we speak about customer satisfaction, self-perception. It's very important to explore the qualitative aspect too, because the self-perception about the experience. For this reason, I think it can be very interesting. It was something like a pilot experience, we can say, Manuela.
Absolutely.
Exactly, in an interdisciplinary way, to try to, how can I say, to explore more this topic with a new approach, methodology, and make a triangulation of Miriam I explained before, because maybe it was not clear. The triangulation was not just in the qualitative content, but in quantitative and qualitative content both. Okay, for this reason, I think we consider this like a first step, a first start in regard to this topic by qualitative data analysis software assisted. It's like an idea that, what do you think? Yeah. I have a question for you because I'm curious. I know that is not my... my question is, what do you think about the option to analyze with a mixed method approach this type of the topic, adopting qualitative analysis software, computer assisted?
No, you know, as Manuela knows, I am a supporter of this type of analysis. I am an anti-econometric, so I am a fanatic of statistics. No? Well, you know, with time, I became more and more anti-econometrics.
Fantastic. More social.
No, you know, yeah, more social. I think, you know, I think economics is a social science. So yeah, you know, on the other hand, we used to do things that are similar to this when we work, for example, studying the perceptions of the residents about tourists, for example. So I am very happy of people doing things like this. My question was more on how can we, because my intuition is that the results depends on the destination and on the guests, on the type of guests. Okay, for example, Americans are well known by liking very much air conditioning, but people that is sustainable, for example, you know, don't care about this. So from the guest side, you have this idea of probably you can do also this by segmenting the data you have before and repeat the analysis. From the guest side, you can do this, okay? So segment the type, for example, segment by nationality, no? And trying to understand if the result that you have, because you have a result that is representative of the total population. Yeah. But probably, who knows? Probably there are different characteristics on the different guests. So this is my intuition. That is why I asked if there are other studies to compare. If we don't have other studies to compare, it could be a nice, from this first exercise, just try to repeat it to other destination, because you know, if you have the software to work that makes easy the collection of data part, no, and probably it could be a nice, you know, I know that Alessandro is starting his PhD, so probably this work is a starting point for the PhD thesis also.
Could be.
Okay, I don't want to monopolize as Miriam. So.
Gabriel, I have a question for you. Which factors do you think we needed to consider? There's something that asked Miriam before, because at the moment we have analyzed in a quantitative way just gender, as Manuela said before. Which other factor link the personality, we can say, of the customer, do you think we can find and we can analyze?
You know, I think that Sandra, for example, could answer better than me this question because she is a superhost in Airbnb. But I think one thing that I collected from your your analysis is the only factor that depends on the person is the knowledge of English. No, the other factors depends more on the structure. Okay, so probably you have to go deeper on the part of the, let's say, the manager or the host, no? Because in my experience as guest, I surely take into account these things of cleaning, precision, and air conditioner or not, okay? But it is also very important the kindness of the guest, no? And it could be also very important, you know, the one thing that you know, there are some factors that Airbnb takes into account to give you the superhost
label.
Status.
Label.
Okay.
Quería decir sello, pero ¿cómo se dice sello?
Label. Stamp. Label.
Sí, label.
Okay, stamp of superhost. No? For example, one is the rapidity, the velocity that you have to answer. No? And so the question is this important? Because for Airbnb it's important, but for the people, this factor is important in your analysis. I don't know if you take it into account, but here, do not we don't have this factor as an important factor. Miriam.
Yes, I will just suggest to we make a huge survey before COVID. We buy an worldwide sample of more than 1,000 persons about Airbnb. And we make a huge analysis. We ask a lot of questions, and then if I will encourage you to read the paper which for coming, and you can see that when the host is not professional, people seems to be much kind when they judge cleanness, but when the host is a professional one, the people are very tough. They don't accept much more errors from this point of view. That's why for me it's fundamental if you can split out the host as professional or not professional. You know, with this characteristics of professional is less than 5 is amateur, from 5 to 10 is semi amateur, from 10 to there is a semi-professional, and more than 20 is professional.
So this is a segmentation from the supply side.
For the supply side, yes. It's to characterize who is professional or not professional. And our hypothesis is that there is conversions in the way that people from Airbnb behave and people from hotels behave. In hotels now, the people are very nice. You arrive. There is a mode to go to Airbnb mode, and on the other side, Airbnb move to the standards of hotels because they have to ensure a certain level of quality. And this we discuss in this paper. This is discussed in the paper I put.
So
And
interesting, Miriam, honestly.
No, well, probably
Miriam,
would be useful.
Sorry, but did you find some, for example, the motivation factor? For example, if the traveler travel for business or for holidays?
We ask them.
There is a connection between professional and unprofessional, because maybe, I don't know, I can guess.
Yes, it's a very good question, because in the leisure place, people don't look more or less to be effective. But when you have a business traveler or professor that go to a conference and go to Airbnb, they want things to be effective, and they are not there to losing time. The budget of time is really limited. then they want to have the key to go in, etc. Meanwhile, a family that goes to spend the holiday, probably he would like to talk and say, where can we go? Tell us a good restaurant, you see? And this could be a difference between the kind of destination, which is your main point of hypothesis. We don't take that, but yes, have a look to the paper. I can send you a preprint if you like.
Absolutely, we will do it.
Martin, again, please.
Yes, I wanted to elaborate on Miriam's comment, because Alessandro, one other thing that you could look at is, as Gabriel said, Superhost have a very high response rate, and also they book their properties a lot. So another comparison that you could do is see how Superhosts, if Superhosts are, for example, multi-unit hosts or single unit hosts. My intuition would say that Superhost manage 2 or more properties at least, because I mean, being responsive and booking a lot means that they probably take this as their job.
As Miriam said, they are professionals. So.
Yes.
Good.
Many times are also intermediates. So they, they manage many housing because they just intermediate between the host and the guest. So matching demand and supply.
No, excuse me. In Switzerland, at least the host, they take care of the property, because this thing to match the customer with the owner is already done by the Airbnb. The added value of a Superhost professional is that they take care of giving the key, of cleaning, you see? And this is a new job here in Switzerland. People that begins with 1 and then 2 and then 3, they begin for the cousin and then they begin for everybody. And they are just a parallel real estate agency.
Yeah.
They do much more than that.
Yeah. Thank you.
Martin, do you have another question, or the hand is up only, or no? More comments or questions? Let's give room. With Miriam, we will give room to other people. Anybody wants to? Martin Olivera, did you read the? Do you have some questions or comments?
Yes, I want to add some comments that you have already done, such as including, well, first of all, how are you, Alessandro, Manuela, and Ana? I suggest you to include also some other destinations apart from Alghero, and then it's very simple. It's to include some dummy variables in your logistic model, and to, first of all, evaluate the significance of including some other destinations. I think you could improve your model or your estimations of the determinants of being a superhost by dividing your sample from some criterion, and also maybe you can employ some other quantitative techniques to have some robustness analysis apart from the logistic regression. Maybe with Sandra, we are doing some analysis related with random forest techniques or other machine learning techniques to classify the sample and to have an improvement on the estimations of the determinants, dividing the ones who are superhosts and the ones who aren't. And also, it is possible to predict if a new host would be in the future a superhost or not. So I think the quantitative approach is really nice, it's really well done, but maybe it can be exploited a bit more. And also in the table you present in the presentation, you include, you remark the p-values and the variables which are significant. But I think the values you show in that table is the estimate parameters of the logistic regression. Maybe you can also include, I don't know if the full paper is included, the margin effect to have a approximation of the really quantitative effects of some explanatory variable on the probability of being a superhost. That's it.
Yes.
Thank you, Martin. Manuela?
Yes, the results actually were based on the odds ratio, the one that we just presented, not on the coefficients themselves, but the odds ratio. And, you know, please mind that in reality, the quantitative analysis was just kind of, you know, an ancillary, a complementary analysis, but the main focus here is the qualitative clear analysis. And what I stressed this already before, I think that what is nice is the fact, first of all, in terms of a generalization of the results, to respond to both of you in a way, is that also the fact that we are taking into account so many guests from different nationalities. So we analyzed even, you know, where from different countries and so on and so forth. So they have different sensibility, different attitude towards the heat or not, whatever. And so that is, but, you know, I agree totally with you that the next step is to, you know, to perform this analysis again on the another destination, maybe in the Mediterranean area, I would say, just to have, you know, like comparison. But, you know, what is interesting as well is the fact that the superhost, in a way, somebody that you trust somehow, as a reputation, and you know somehow where you stand. So the trust issue here is the kind of, you know, the generalization in a way of the model from a qualitative and quantitative perspective. And what Alessandro pointed out earlier on about the hospitality issue, the hospitality that can be viewed either as a good or as a commodity. So the hospitality as a commodity attribute already short run now a monetary value, whereas the hospitality is good that you know, interacts with all the social capital, as you know, somebody for instance addressed the fact that not that just pick us from the airport, but also, you know, they assist us when there was an issue, or even they ask the neighbors to do so. And this means that there is a strong social capital within that destination. And this is as not just a good value as such, but also in the long run, you know, now on with the loyalty and the word of mouth, a monetary value as business in the long run, long run. This is what I think is valuable about qualitative analysis from an economic perspective, because we don't use this kind, you know, we just are based on profits, prices, and you know, very tangible monetary items. Whereas here we are trying to extrapolate, to elicit the social capital and the trust seen as a good rather than a commodity. I think that this is what I can, you know, thank you, Anna, for this, because, you know, for me, it was a kind of revelation. So, you know, so thank you very much for your comment, Martin. Yes, we have also done some other analysis from a qualitative point of view, trying to clusterize a bit the sample in international versus domestic demand, because clearly the sensibility is totally different. And we find the different, differences that we didn't show here in terms of loyalty and the willingness to recommend, and but also in terms of seasonality. And we didn't show here, but we found out this kind. So thank you very much, because we will go again somewhere somewhere else to analyze this framework. Thank you.
Anna, do you want to say something?
No, it's fine. That was absolutely perfect, Manuela. It's brilliant.
As usual. Somebody else? Some more questions or comments?
And did you think some policy recommendations from an economic point of view, it's always a value to add some policy recommendations or some theoretical facts
or
from
planning
the,
or other.
okay.
No? So, or if you want to complement your question, Martin, did you know what is the target of this paper? Only the academic area, or you are also thinking in somebody that could make profit from this reflection and results? Who can be this?
Yeah, probably the policymakers here, because we find out that, again, in terms of seasonality, we have an issue about mobility that is not a news, but, you know, it's still stressed from a qualitative perspective that the problem are the transport. And this is the major problem within our destinations, the inner mobility, and now it's becoming also the external mobility, because clearly because of COVID, they are losing also routes, you know, to the mainland. We're an island, so this is the problem. And so this is, I think, the message again from a qualitative perspective that, you know, much road still needs to be done from a mobility perspective, and this is a policy issue. You know, just to take people, for instance, from the city center that has a problem with the parking, as you know, Gabriel knows, because he knows the destination very well, and you know, to the coastline, for instance, to, you know, amenities that we have in the hinterland, and that is an issue that was, you know, point out, and especially within the low season as such. And this is another point. I think that it goes in that direction.
Maybe as a further work, you can focus on the qualitative analysis and to exploit some theoretical facts related to the qualitative analysis, and take apart the quantitative analysis and to exploit it a bit more in another work. Maybe I think there are lots of qualitative techniques to employ and to take different results or the same results, but all related with different methodologies. It's just a recommendation.
Yes, I like also your point about maybe machine learning. It would be another.
Also, Manuela, we have Alessandro has presented just one network, but honestly, there are a lot of opportunity to present policy, the most important factor for the customer. It was just one network. For this reason, absolutely is something that we can do it. Usually the qualitative approach is very useful for policy application because we have direct quote from the participant.
Do we have more questions or comments?
I have a question, but not about the not about the presentation. It's for Anna. Anna, I was curious about this this program you lead in Edge Hill University. You know, sorry that at the beginning we couldn't present you as the same to Manuel and Alessandro because we start so quickly. But I saw in your short video you sent us, and I was curious about this program called Psychosocial Analysis of Offending Behavior. Because maybe it could be interesting for us, for the people who work in management, in satisfaction.
Te estaba hablando en español, Sandra. Yeah, I think, yes, I am program leader and senior lecturer in psychosocial analysis of offending behavior. And my research topic, my research field is in particular social but forensic psychology. I work in about crime. For this reason, this program is more focused on offending behavior, of course. But because in Italy, forensic psychology stay inside in the social psychology, a lot of theoretical models are absolutely interdisciplinary between social psychology and forensic psychology. I move from both areas. But of course, my first field as a lecturer, as a researcher is crime, offending behavior, younger offending behavior, treatment, rehabilitation. But in any case, very interesting for me in general, analyze group perception, self-perception of people about their experience, their emotion. Also, we have written a paper with Manuela adopting mixed method approach about policy implication in school, a link to personal perception of students about their personal experience. For this reason, I think that I know that looks something strange, but I think economy and psychologists can make a perfect dialogue together, in particular linked to the policy. Because with Manuela, it's so easy work, to be honest. He's absolutely a psychologist inside. For this reason, it's very easy work with her. But yes, my focus, I don't know if I answered it, my focus in particular is in crime and offending behavior. I don't know if you have any interest in this, but I think there are a strong research field in economy of crime too.
Okay, thank you. Very interesting. No, I don't worry in this line, but you can be a good partner for working on another
absolutely
topic with this since you work with qualitative tools and
I implemented the all qualitative method in my life: focus group, interview, different type of the interview. For this reason, of course, is my favorite method, but I'm very open to mixed method too, absolutely.
Okay, thank you, Anna.
Thank you so much.
Well,
somebody else or? You know, I have a suggestion just for our master students for Martin Sprechman, because Martin is working on his PhD on Airbnb, you know, Martin.
Yes.
And probably it could be a good strategy if you can collaborate with Manuela, Ana, and Alessandro, collecting data here and repeating the analysis for let's say Punta del Este. What do you think? Are you ready for this?
It's a very good idea.
Do you Manuela and Ana, do you agree with this?
Yes, absolutely. It would be, great to work further, and as I said, to replicate also the study somewhere else, their destination, also to generalize the findings. So welcome, most welcome.
This, Punta del Este is a destination of second homes, most. So
yes,
it would be also interesting to
it's
compare.
called sharing economy. This is the kind of, but it's more than that, as we are discussing today.
Perfect. And for the students of our master, if somebody wants to also to collaborate with this, to participate, just tell me and I will put you in contact with Manuela, Alessandra. Okay?
Gabriel, one more comment.
Yeah.
I think that for a comparative study, I think I have already the information about Superhost in Montevideo. So
perfect.
So as Gabriel said, I'm carrying out my PhD, and I could include in my thesis something about superhost, which is very interesting. And then we could compare Alghero with Montevideo.
Perfect.
Great.
This I think, you know, this is win-win.
Exactly. And if someone can have any interest about qualitative research, qualitative method, computer assisted, yes, please send me an email. I'm more than
I am interested in crime.
Ah, brilliant. Yes, my topic. Wow. You are
becoming
welcome. Gabriel,
mine as
etc.
well.
too.
Yeah. Mine
Okay.
is for a few years from a quantitative and now qualitative perspective. So we are
I
dealing
was
with the
I was just thinking on the
illegal markets,
Yes.
drugs,
Yes.
and I run an analysis from a quantitative perspective, matching prices quantity seized by the authorities in Europe, and to find out the kind of specialization that European countries have. But then we also use the judgments to explore a qualitative analysis and find, you know, different domains and all the indicators related to this, but with organized crime. So same mafia kind of crime, you know, Sardinia that has changed its crime attitude with respect to they always, you know, kind of DNA that we had. Now we are becoming the hub for drug dealing within Europe, and that is the new reality that we are facing, unfortunately.
Good. So what else? You have some comments in the chat also. So if we don't have more questions or comments, we close here. This is the last opportunity.
Como se, Gabriel, estamos en contacto.
Estamos en contacto, seguimos en contacto. No, you know, remember only we have the workshop also, Manuela, in November. This year will be virtual because of the pandemic. It is organized by the people of Rio de Janeiro. So if you want to send the paper there also, you have a different.
Could you remind me the deadline?
The deadline, I think, is October 30. Martin, one of the Martins could send you the
yes,
call.
please.
Veronica.
Too many things.
And what else? In the next future, in the seminar, we have a lot of Italian. So if you want to have a look on the
yes, on the web
site. Rafael is coming, Chiara, who else? Linda was the previous.
Yes,
week.
I've noticed. Yeah, just spotted.
So the Italian Guanajuato. Yes. Yeah, we have people from several parts of the world here in this seminar. This is one of the good things of the pandemic, no?
Yeah, virtual network.
yeah, but for the seminars was perfect.
Sí.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
Ana, muchas gracias entonces por la presentación y por estar aquí. Ya nos veremos en algún lado.
Sí, mucho gusto. Me siento en casa en Sudamérica, lo sabes,
bueno,
porque he vivido en Ecuador, entonces me siento en casa.
Cuando quieras, yo no puedo entrar en Italia, porque...
¿Por qué?
No, Manuela, you know that I cannot enter I can enter in Italy, but I have to do the quarantine.
It's true.
The green pass. I cannot have the green pass. So I canceled my visit with Roberto in Catania. And I'm planning to go to Spain.
If they allow you.
Just for now, but don't worry, in the future you can travel again.
Yes, I know. Manuela, thank you very
you
much.
can come, no, Gabriel?
Yeah,
They
you
are
can come here.
welcome. Alessandro, Ana, Manuela. Bueno, Manuela, you know, you're always.
Now,
También anch'io. También
Yeah,
anch'io. You
I
are
have also
welcome.
to go to Liverpool. That
Yes.
is another
A
destination.
Ciudad
Oh my God.
de Beatles.
yeah, the Beatles y de Luis
I
Suárez.
went.
Eso.
Yes.
Okay, Alessandro, thank you very much.
Also-
To you also.
I also like to say
Yeah.
thank you to my colleague from Trento who is here, Moreno. I was
Okay.
but,
He's
you
still
know,
there.
thank you
Yeah,
for
Moreno. Thank you very much. I have my daughter in Trento, so I
yeah,
know very
yeah.
well. That's-
Ah, está ya al fondo,
Okay.
creo que no nos oyó.
Ah,
Ok.
Bueno.
I wrote my email address for, you know, for
Yeah,
future
in the chat.
communication. Okay, thanks a lot to everybody.
Thank you
to
thank
everybody.
you to all.
We see you next week. Bye.
And we will
Ok.
meet soon. Bye
Chao,
bye.
chao. Gracias.
Bye, bye.
Bye to
Chao.
everybody. Thank you.
A ustedes, gracias. Chao.